I'll make videos to guide job program for listening and speaking, especially. I use voice typing. Let's focus on speaking and listening in language exchange. While we're doing language exchange, mostly we depend on the text to learn foreign language. It's a good way, but in terms of communication in language, mostly we use speaking and listening more than 90% in real life. So there's a reason why we should focus on speaking and listening because we communication in normal life with the speaking and listening. So while I'm doing online language exchanging more than 1 year and 6 months, then I focus on text. It means reading and writing or reading. It's mostly reading. So, and there's the uh, basic way to understand the foreign languages by reading words, sentence, and conversation and stories by learning grammar. This is typical way to we learn foreign languages. Not like children, not like the grown-ups and the children who grown up, who have been growing up. Then they focus on speaking and listening. First, listening. Listening is the key to speak. And then we can follow like with the help of language partners. For example, how can we do that? Let's think about we learned a song each other. Only the demonstrate the song. My favorite song, I can teach it to language partners. My language partners can teach it to me his or her favorite song. Then we can focus on the sound to follow and repeat and repeat. And then in the end, we can totally knowing about the whole the song can sing. When I see someone who can sing foreign languages, and they mostly are good at speaking foreign languages because they can speak and sing a song and have a good pronunciation by repetition. They understand what the sound like in the foreign language. So, and this is the point of view. I'll try to add in my program is for the speaking because this is very important part. And then while we are studying 40 minutes on June, and then I decided to um, second or third, second or third, second or third, and I decided to learn speaking and listening. So, and then this time is much more about um, uh, more than 20%, 24 minutes. I know, and then 28 minutes, almost 28 minutes. And then I devoted in the speaking and listening. And then I need a program because if we cannot communicate with the language because of one language partners are not good at the foreign languages, but even though they are beginner, they can teach a song uh, to uh, demonstrate the how they sing and what they sing, and then we can follow. This is one of the way to how can we make a program based on speaking and listening by using a song to learn each other on in online language exchange. It's simply the basic way is a very important way. Um, why I choose this way? This because reading is also important, but when we read it, we can catch up with the speaking and listening. Basically, and reading speed is much faster than listening or speaking. Basically, when we reach the high level of in reading, I think after 1 year, and then we can catch up the speed of speaking and listening by reading, because reading speed by reading speed is faster than speaking and listening. Mostly, I think if we read without sound. Then we read and quickly the catch up the words and meaning and paragraph. Then we can understand about by reading much maybe 3 times than the speaking and listening. Anyway, the 3 times than listening. And because the speaking speed is limited, but the reading speed is maximum is 1,000 words a minute. It's a powerful reading. Well, when we start doing online language exchange as a beginner or at the intermediate level, and then we focus on speaking and listening. By doing that, we can improve the speaking skill and then having a good pronunciation. Because we focus on speaking and listening with each other, language partners. As uh, as I focused on text, means reading for 1 month, 1 year, and then 6 months, I could improve and then the understanding comprehension skills, but the expression is so bad. And then my pronunciation is not good. And then I can speak a little bit, but when I check out my pronunciation or the practice, I need time to speak the express words or sentence. So, and then that is my problems. So, and also as I mentioned the first time in this story, and then when we communicate with the native speakers or the local people, and we mostly use more than 90% with the speaking and listening communications. This is the communication without text. Only we life cycle, we meet some people, we say hello, and then we speak, and then speaking is mostly important, and then to speak, just one, you should know that to speak, you should listen to them, because after listening, and then we can get a feedback, and then we can ask something, we can get a answer, and then question and answer like in the interviewing. So, and then this is very important part really why we should learn foreign languages, because we want to communicate with the people, not getting information, not getting the purpose of academical purpose, and then not academic purpose. We want to do communication by speaking and listening. So, and then while we're doing online language exchange, let's focus on speaking and listening. Mostly, when I meet language partners, they are not good at speaking and listening, but they are good at reading because they are same situation with me, and then they study with the words and the texts and then sentence, and then uh, they uh, they this is the easy way to learn learn foreign languages, to get a textbook, to get a reference, studying with it, and then the building vocabulary is very important, but the building vocabulary and then a reading sentence and knowing the pattern of sentence and try to memorizing, try to express them, and then understand about the conversation and stories. But all the things are based on text. So we should do that. But we should do that. We should do that. But we should do that less, if possible, less the minimum of studying in text, and then maximum in listening and speaking without text. Then we our brain can interactive react with the sound and then try to remember the sound. And after remembering the sound and then meaning, and then we can follow up and then we can make a pronunciation. We can pronounce as same as the native speaker speak. So, and then speaking and listening is very important to communicate with the language partner or native speakers. And then this best way to learn foreign languages in terms of our goal, our purpose to learn foreign languages. Today I talk about less focus on speaking and listening. I started to the reason why, and I started to the one way, for example, and then learning songs each other, and then the rate of time to learn. For example, 70% for speaking and listening, and 30% for reading and writing. Then that is the rate of here doing online language exchange. And then that's way. Okay, so and then I will do this and put lead with the content. Okay, then I can copy with this. I just talk what I'm thinking to make this, and then we do this program, and then go to version. I focus on speaking and listening in language exchange, and copy this, go ChatGPT. Very fast. Here is a clear, proofread and well-structured version of your content titled Let's Focus on Speaking and Listening in Language Exchange. I've kept your original message and ideas intact while improving grammar, flow, and clarity. Let's focus on speaking and listening in language exchanges. In most language exchanges, we tend to rely heavily on text, reading and writing to learn a new language. That's a valid and effective method. However, when it comes to real life communication, over 90% of our interactions are through speaking and listening. That's why we should prioritize these two skills, especially when we are practicing with the real people. Why speaking and listening matter? When I started doing online language exchange about 1 year and 2 months ago, I mostly focused on texting, reading, and writing messages. This helped me build a foundation of vocabulary and grammar. I could understand text, story, and grammar rules better, but something was missing. I couldn't speak well, and my pronunciation was poor. Text-based learning is useful, especially in the early stages, but it's not how children learn languages. Children grow up listening first. Listening is the key to speaking. Only after they hear enough of the language do they start speaking naturally. We adults can follow the same method, especially in language exchange. A simple, effective way, learn songs together. Here's one great method that I've discovered learning songs with language partners. I choose one of my favorite songs and teach it to my partner. My partner does the same in their language. We focus on the sound, rhythm, and pronunciation by repeating lines together. Eventually, we can sing the whole song. When I see someone who can sing well in a foreign language, I notice that they usually speak that language well too. Why? Because they train their ear and mouth. They understand the sounds of that language and can pronounce them clearly. This is why I've started to include this method in my language exchange session. It's fun, practical, and powerful for improving listening and speaking skills. Structuring the session prioritize speaking and listening. Now, when I do a 40-minute language exchange on Zoom, I try to devote at least 70% of the time, about 28 minutes, to speaking and listening. The remaining time can be used for reading or writing if necessary. Even if our language partner are beginner, they can still teach us a song and demonstrate how they pronounce certain words, and then we can follow and repeat. It creates a sound-based memory that leads to better speaking and understanding. Why not just reading? Of course, reading is important too. You can faster in listening and speaking in many cases. Some people can read up to 1,000 words per minute, but reading silently doesn't train your mouth or ear. To speak well, you need to listen and speak and not just read. In my own journey, I realized that after focusing on reading for over a year, I had a good comprehension but poor expression. I couldn't pronounce it well or speak fluently. Now, after switching focus to speaking and listening, I've started to see improvement in pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence. Final thoughts: communicate, don't just study. Our goal in learning a language is to communicate with people, not just collect knowledge. That means less text, more voice, fewer messages, more conversations, fewer silent readings, more speaking out loud. When we meet native speaker or local people, the reality is that we'll mostly be speaking and listening. Texting is secondary. That's why we needed to prepare by practicing speaking and listening more. So from now on, let's create a language exchange program that focus on communication. For example, spend 7% of the time on speaking and listening. Use song as a fun and effective learning tool. Use reading and writing to support and nominate your session. And I'll continue to follow this path And I hope others do too. Let's focus on speaking and listening because that's how real communication happens. Yeah.